Talking tactics, Campbell's comments. Greg's just had to listen to me ramble on. Greg Sugars finally joins me. I've been trying to get a few of these drivers, or as many drivers on as I can, Greg, and it's been a long time since I've to get you on, mate.
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, I haven't been doing a good enough job. You've been avoiding me.
Definitely haven't been avoiding you. It's one of those things. I want to do more of them. I'm hoping to get sponsors and the likes and going forward. So Duncan McPherson, put your hat on, since he sent me a message about why I don't wear one of his hats. So Aldebaran Park have got the hat on, and we will get to a couple of trotters towards the end of the day. It was a great day today at Maryborough Hambo Day. I think it was a good lot of racing, and it was very exciting racing going on. Greg, I think harness racing is gifted with a lot of quality reins people, and I think that's one of the reasons why I don't get you on. And I think a lot of the time we get sold short on some of our drives and some of the things we are able to do. You put in an absolute, I can say this because it's my show, ball biter is the best way to describe it at Melton on Saturday. Did you like that, did you? On Saturday night.
I did, yeah.
In race 3, the Alabar Vicbred race with... about time, a horse for Emma Stewart, trained Danny Zanavatos. I get his name wrong all the time. Owns this horse, so it would have been going around in Danny's colours. But I'll bring the video up and get it started anyway. And I've got him highlighted here, Greg, just where you were, and I'll actually position you so you can actually see. Can you see what we're doing there?
Yep.
You're just back there off the mobile, clearly highlighted there. You're following out a proven fast horse off the arm, but a bit like a few of the mares going around at the minute, Delightful Mia, this is when they get over the 2200, they try to position up behind the best horses, but they always tend to hand up. Yep. What's your mindset going into this race at this stage? And I can probably even just let it go rolling just that little bit further, because you're on the favourite, but $2.50 favourite. If he was off the front line, he probably would have been about $1.40.
Yeah, spot on. It even goes back, obviously before this moment, that when I had a look at the race, when the fields came out, that the three main chances on paper and probably in the market all drew the back line. Myself, Karen with Terry Rama, and James Herbison Catch a Moment with the outside gate off the back. And either one of those horses, if they probably drew the front line and they would have looked to have found the front, and probably either one of us could have started favourite in that sort of field. So the way it sort of unfolded, or the plan that we sort of put in place, was the front line was actually quite fast. Sort of 1 to 4 were all very notable gate speed horses, go forward horses, but as you rightly said, they generally look to take a sit. So, plan A was to follow through that speed and hope a gap appeared, and I could sort of gain an advantage on my two main dangers that would obviously be back in the pack.
So everything goes to plan early, and Chris Finozio clearly holds up, doesn't hand up. I think he had ideas of waiting for one of you guys to come off the sprint lane. But I've actually blown this video up right about here, and you can see you just have a sneaky little look over your inside shoulder. The gap's not there. It's the opposite. I suppose the chances were you were going to get in front of Kez if you could have got off, between Ants and Kez there, but that then would have probably given the winning move to James Herbertson, because he's 3 deep. You would have been still underneath him. You wouldn't have been able to shove out. So this is what I say about a split-second decision. That was a dead-set split-second decision there. You saw the gap was almost there, but you said, no, I'm going to keep punching forward.
Yeah, that's right. It can be a game of inches in many aspects of our sport, and it was one of those things that, quite often people, they worry about drawing 8 or being stuck on the fence when they've got a horse that they think's a winning chance, and they don't want to get held up and shuffled back on the inside. And it's quite easy to say, we'll just grab hold and get off at the start. But you lose so much ground doing it. And when you're in a field of quality horses, it sometimes that loses the race. It doesn't win you the race. So Terry Rama, drawn to my outside, is not a known sort of quick beginner. So I was confident that I would have superior speed for it. And as I said, that we're following out sort of 4 beginners that all began quite well. So that was sort of in the back of my mind that popping off in front of Karen to follow Anthony through was probably my most likely scenario, as the gate left. But as you rightly said, that, after, probably not even 100 metres, I could see the gap was all but there, but not quite. And James was pressing on out wide. So as soon as Anthony decided to, relinquish his sort of challenge for the front and grab hold, that I sort of said, right, we'll take the chance to keep following the one through, and hopefully we can get off in front of him, and before the runners out wide could close the gap on us. And thankfully there was just enough room, and I had the right type of horse. He's a very fast, snappy sort of horse that when the gap was there, he was straight through it, so without hesitation. So it all worked out, quite easily in the end, but could have quite easily gone the other way as well.
I'm just going to roll that tape, but I just want people just to keep a good eye on it, because I won't come back to it, but I'll roll the tape and I've highlighted it. But it is dead set, just the gap that comes, and it's about now. You can see you're starting to edge, and you're out and you're off. And Jody was still 3 deep, and that really shuffled things up to the extent that James Herbertson got into the running line in front of Karen, but clearly that was the one spot that won you the race, that moment right there, that 150, 200 metre section of a 2200 metre race, but that was the part that won you this race on the night.
Yeah, without a doubt. Once if that hadn't have come off and I had lost that advantage, and either one of those runners were able to press on and sort of get in front of me or get in a better position to me, then quite likely we might have had a different outcome as it turned out. But just one of those things that we sort of had a pretty good game plan, and it came off.
He is a lovely horse, this horse, and you probably had a little bit of luck. James Herbertson, just there, you can't see the video anymore because I moved it on you, but with Miss McGonigal coming out, probably took the run from James Herbertson and forced him to actually have to go 4 deep and get outside of you, with the winning margin only being 1.5 metres. So there's probably a couple of other little factors that did help in the race, but he just looks a lovely horse, this bloke. He's poking along out in front, son of Art Major, as they all do, well, the better ones anyway. He just seems to be bowling along. He's got his mane flowing in the wind, which is another characteristic of them. Ride highs, our Golden Goddesses, they all seem to have these lovely manes that just fly through the air, and he just looks the real deal. Yeah,
lovely horse. He's got great gate speed, and he can sort of, as he showed at Bendigo, and he's sort of cut loose when finding the front quite easily on that occasion, that he can sustain a high speed for quite a long time. So especially over the short trip, you put him in that situation. It's going to take a very good horse to sort of to run him down, really. So he's got a future for sure.
If he was 3 back the fence, would he have been a chance of being able to get out and out-ping him?
Yeah, I think so. I probably haven't had many opportunities in the short time I've been driving him to drive him like that. But you saw the way he followed through at the start, and came off their backs and dashed through. That and he's got that natural speed in him. That given the right circumstances, if he settled in the field and did no work and relaxed in a race, that you would think he would be very lethal under those circumstances.
Yeah, that high speed, it's a little bit unique for some horses to be able to poke through a gap like that as well. Some horses won't do it, but he didn't hesitate one bit, did he?
No, not at all. And when you're sort of hoping or planning on making a move like that, if you think that's the way a race is going to unfold, you have to have the right type of horse to be able to do it too. If he was sort of a bit sluggish or a bit dour, or not very responsive, then I wouldn't have been able to get him to a horse to react quick enough to make the move he did. But he's such a sharp, athletic, sort of light on his feet sort of horse that, as you say, he didn't hesitate at all, which made my life a lot easier.
It's a random question. The New South Wales horses, they race on these big tracks, and you couldn't fault King of Swing, and I think there was a few little issues with a couple of them going for Victoria in the Victoria Cup. But do you think they need a couple of runs to be able to adjust back to a tighter track, a track that we love, like Melton, Bendigo, Ballarat, Maryborough today. They're our normal, but potentially for these New South Wales visitors, do they probably need a couple of runs to familiarise themselves with that different track?
Probably not so much the track, but more so the way we race, and especially the 2200 metre racing. Even though they do, run the 2300 at Menangle from time to time, the majority of their racing is obviously sprint racing over the mile, and they run it hard and fast, which is fine, and can be quite exciting racing, of course. But we have seen a number of runners that are used to being, I suppose, a bit one-dimensional at Menangle come down here and not being able to adapt to if they have to sort of stop and start or be in a field if they drew up a back row or something like that. So some runners you do seem to struggle because they're so used to being out and free running at Menangle, and it's not always possible here with our style of racing.
The Craig Cross runners, they've been going good. You can't pot them in any way, but definitely not dominating like what they have in New South Wales. Mate, that was the first leg of a double for the night. Your second leg of the double, we're not going to show this one in too much detail because it was as routine a win as you could get with a little horse you affectionately called Woody, I believe. But he's come over here from New Zealand. There was a great picture of yourself and Jess on track. And also, I love the fact what you guys do on social media post-race. You thanked the owners in New Zealand, the trainers, Mark and Natalie, for sending a horse over there. You are respectful of the fact that you are you've been given a quality horse like this land on your doorstep.
Oh, absolutely. We we consider ourselves lucky, and to have a horse like this sort of turn up on your doorstep, sort of ready to go, ready to win. They're a terrific bunch of owners that sort of had dealings with to a small degree. Over recent years, I've been lucky enough to drive a few horses for them in the past, but this is the first one we've ever trained for them. So we were very, very excited and quite delighted when the phone call came our way that they were interested in sending a horse over, and you obviously got to pay respect to Mark and Nat with the job they do on the scale they do. It is just it speaks for itself, but it is phenomenal. And sometimes we may forget that how good a job they do because it just becomes, I suppose, normal and you just expect it of them. But the way the horse turned up here, he was in magnificent order with all the gear to go with it. Had a good chat to Mark on the phone, and he was very forthright with the horse with what we needed to know, and you can't ask for more than that. So they would be they'd be hoping the horse would do well with us as well as we're hoping it does well. So hopefully it leads to something else down the track. But if not, we're very thankful just to get this opportunity.
I got two questions out of what you just said then, but the first one I want to say, got away with murder in front. You basically stacked them and racked them a bit like my brother last week. Got away 27.9 down the back and then zips home in 26.6. How far can this little horse go? And actually, firstly, before you answer, is he as little as what he looks, or is he one of those deceiving horses?
Yeah, no, he's a little fella. He reminds me a lot. The first time I saw him, he really reminded me of Flaming Flutter.
Yep.
Also another Better's Delight stallion that I had a great association with Jeff Webster. He was only a little horse, but had a good body to him, and this one's much the same. Covers the ground really well, which a lot of the good small Better's Delight horses do. But he's not real big in stature, and still learning a bit about him. Obviously, we've seen him a couple of times when they've brought him across for I think maybe the Derbies, and he went up to New South Wales for the 4-year-old races up there, and he probably seems to me in the short time we've had him, and even on that one run Saturday night, that he's probably a bit stronger than he is fast.
Wow.
In a way. He although the margin was sort of cut right down by a horse that I think is a very, very, very smart horse, for Simone Walker. So I was sort of not completely surprised to see it run a hell of a race and get as close as what it did. But my horse was still quite strong on the line, but he couldn't go any faster. That's for sure. 26, 5 or 6. The last quarter is probably as good a quarter as he can run. But I think he will be a better horse over journey, and if it become more of a staying test, I think that will suit him better.
Absolutely. So, maybe country cups, depending on what happens, or is there bigger fish to fry with him? Or
yeah, no, I think country cups will be right up his alley, and that's something we're definitely going to be looking at with him. So we'll just go sit down and plot a path for them when all those dates are released, and we'll try and have him spot on for as many of them as possible.
I saw the other day, I'm not on the committee at Bendigo anymore, but I did see the other day, I think the Bendigo Cup starts about the 9th of January, so they'd say that'd be possibly the first of them without knowing. As I said, I haven't seen a full-on calendar. You had a very good day at Shep yesterday. Driver's life's never over. I don't know what time that race was. I actually, when I was reading the social media feeds the next day, I'm like, I don't remember watching that horse win, and I turned off after a lead stride and shut the eyes, mate. I didn't even realise you still had one to go around. Shepparton, yesterday, you've had a big day today at Maryborough for Hambo Day as well. Didn't get to interview you on track, or Robbie Orban didn't get to interview you on track, but there's just two little things I wanted to highlight. One, your sister, Kylie. I knew how to say this horse's name when I wrote it down. Now I can't say it. Urifacy, I think is how you say it. Urifacy. That's it. That's closer. It's a something to do with a god of something or other. But clearly Kylie has no love for me when she names a horse like that. But she was on her best behaviour and did a very good job today.
Yeah, she was. She's done a terrific job with her. It's one of those things that she's. She bred. We raced the mare. Dad trained it, and Kylie and I both drove the mare for Dad, and it's the first foal out of it. And you're sort of such a long way in when in the breeding game, and she's it's been Kylie's little pet project now for quite some time, and she's shown quite some promise in early days, and sort of had a bit of a wayward patch where she was sort of wanting to pull up in the run and things like that, and wouldn't quite concentrate. And Kylie's done a great job at sort of re-educating her and getting that sort of stuff out of her. And she put the writing on the wall 2 runs back at Bendigo when she ran a really nice second in fast time, and sort of ran past horse like Utopia in that race. And but it was a really impressive performance, and hence why last week, which is the next start, she started favourite in the homegrown series, and for whatever reason she just wasn't on song and just not herself, and made a costly mistake around the last turn, so she was out of play for that series, unfortunately. So great to see her sort of bounce back and show what she's sort of capable of doing today, and good day to do it. It's a great initiative for Harness Racing Victoria and Harness Breeders Victoria to throw a bit of extra money into a day like that, and give so many horses obviously a chance to win a race and get that lucrative first win bonus. It's a hell of a payday for the breeders and the owners of big bred horses. So we wouldn't be doing our job if we weren't patting the powers to be, Harness Breeders Victoria in particular, on the back for doing such a great job at putting a terrific day together.
Absolutely. The VSTA got involved as well. Maryborough Harness Racing Club got involved as well. But Jess will hear this. Jess will watch it because she's very good at watching that. She also needs to be commended because the committee of the Harness Breeders Victoria is a very young committee, but they keep trying and they're doing great things for harness racing. They're not just a silent body that says, oh, we want this and we want that. I think what they're doing is terrific. Hopefully Nick Hooper watches this and he might say, oh, we better give Paul some more work. I'm not sure. But anyway, I think everything that they've been doing through COVID and a lot of the initiatives going forward, none of them were there today. And I think that was very frustrating for all concerned. But it's a great day. Hambo 20 or Hambo 2021 next year. It'll be something for a lot of people to look forward to with all that prize money and hopefully some crowds back there. But the main reason I wanted to talk to you about that day was the horse you had in the second last, Hammers Pegasus. Now, I spoke to Robbie Auber. I was on track doing the parade rings and all the rest. I hadn't seen this bloke before. He walked in the parade ring and I've gone, wow. I mean, he just stood out. you did a gear change. You put an extra hobble on him. He had the third hobble on the back leg. But I just looked at him. I just thought he just looks all trotter. He's a full brother to Mari Time, half brother to Mari Law. He's got all the breeding and everything on his side. And I couldn't get Robbie Orba excited at all about him. He wasn't that keen. He's seen a few of his trials, and he kept trying to tell myself and the Trots Vision public, and rightfully so. He said he hasn't done a lot, but he was impressive run, Greg. I think you may have heard just going inside down the back, or when you did, but going down the back when Matty Craven's horse was super, super impressive. There's no worries there at all. You had a lap full of horse, mate.
Yeah, that's right. Look, he's bred to be a pretty smart horse, and probably full credit to the owner, Don Martello. He's in no rush with this one, or he hasn't been and still isn't. That the family quite often they take a bit of time and they produce their best form sort of later on in life. So he's been taken along a very slow path of education basically for the last probably 18 months or so, and just starting to put it all together now. And he's quite an impressive looking horse, as you rightfully stated. So had a little bit of issue with his gait along the way. He sort of hasn't been an easy horse to get trotting consistently, and that's why we went down the path of the third hobble, which is created a bit of attention in recent times with another stable runner, and it's got a lot of play on social media in recent weeks, and that sort of gave us the idea that maybe we'll give this a try, and it seems to have really helped this fella, and very proud of what he did today. He was held up there at the vital stage, and probably wasn't going to beat the winner under any circumstances, the way the race unfolded and the way it went, but we hit the line very strongly. So, he's put the writing on the wall that a win shouldn't be too far away for him, hopefully.
I love the way he hit the line. I just thought he exactly that. He said, back me next time. And it may not be next time because he's a young trotter. The psyche of putting that third loop on the back leg, you clearly didn't hide it today either. It was one thing I noticed, it was white. I take out a lot of things. You had black hobbles on in front. I can't believe you had a different coloured hobble behind. But just for the people at home that are saying, what is this third leg? And as you said, on social media, it created a lot of attention just recently. It's definitely not illegal. It's actually allowed. But the theory behind it, Greg, what is the theory behind it?
It's just basically, obviously, half hobbles in front, trying to keep the rhythm of their front legs so they don't sort of lose their timing. But, it's easy with pacers that obviously have four loops that if they have a bit of problem, staying coordinated in their gait, it's quite easy to tighten their hobbles or put elastics on or something like that. But trotters, it's obviously a little bit different if they start to lose their gait from behind. So, the third hobble is an elastic hobble that fits to the swivel joint of the half hobbles, and it just when their back leg goes obviously strides out, they just feel a slight amount of pressure for the hobble loop on that back leg just to try and keep it in rhythm, and it just seems to give them a bit of confidence that they don't, as they're at speed, they don't sort of get out of time, just holds their rhythm basically, and this bloke's only had it on probably 2 or 3 times now, but it's made an incredible difference in such a short amount of time. So hopefully it's one of those things that he'll gain confidence and sort of grow out of it, and won't need it for the remainder of his career. But for the short term, it's a very good asset to have.
It's not attached to the diagonal leg. Like a lot of people, I think, are of the belief that it's attached to the loop on the other side. It's actually attached to the pulley underneath. That's correct, isn't it? So it's more there, a placebo effect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's basically just floating in the breeze in a way, but they can feel it there just to sort of keep that rhythm. And they're not allowed to attach sort of a front one across on a diagonal to a back one, which is a cross hobble, which is illegal, because that can potentially cause a safety issue if one gallops, and they can cause a bit of strife there, and then have a chance of tripping himself over. But the way this is set up is obviously well within the rules and quite safe, I can assure you.
Mate, thank you for explaining that. Hopefully people have enjoyed it. I might have to do some Campbell's comments on gear maybe one day and all the little harebrained ideas. I can't believe you got away with a white loop. I don't believe Jess noticed that when you had black front ones in front. Just in case you're not aware, Jess, I need it changed for next meeting, please.
Yeah, we're pretty good on the most gears black. I have let a couple of coloured items appear of late, but yeah, that was just simple. When we went to the gear shed, there was a white loop that was loose, so that's the one that got grabbed. So we might have to rectify that and either colour it in or find a black one just to try and conceal it a little bit better.
This is talking tactics from Campbell's comments, but we're going to keep going on the gear. I'm going to start with the other one. Vouchers. Explain to the participants the theory with vouchers, because she wears no crupper, no hobbles, and how that works for a mare and the reason for trying it with her.
Yeah, sort of stumbled across it a little bit by accident. She was always a bit touchy over the back and has had a bit of back issues along the way, and quite often has tight hamstrings and things like that. So she's always a bit reluctant to sort of lift the tail, put the crupper on, and was never sort of 100% comfortable when doing that. So, quite often at home, like a lot of our horses, especially the quiet ones, we jog them with just a saddle, without a crupper or anything like that. And so she was quite comfortable under those circumstances. And we took her out one day and went to give her a canter, actually, and she free-leg paced. And so away we went, and she paced the whole trip and worked quite well. And but the interesting thing was when she came in, I noticed her heart rate would have been probably 15 beats lower than what it normally would be if I had hobbles on and done the same work, which I thought, just maybe that was just a coincidence or a one-off thing, or didn't really put two and two together initially. And I went out and tried it again another day, and same sort of result. And she felt really well in herself and did the work quite comfortably. And so we took her to the trials and didn't really expect her to be able to handle it under those circumstances. But she left the gate quite quick that day at the trials and dashed up a good quarter. And same thing, sort of came off the track like she sort of hadn't really been round. And previously, before that, with the hobbles on, she was a horse that when she started to feel the pinch and tire late, she'd stop very quick. She would hang quite bad and had quite a high heart rate. So all those things sort of went away without the hobbles on, without the crupper. So, I haven't really got an answer as to why that is, but for some reason she doesn't like it. So, we've left well enough alone, and we're getting great results.
Right, thank you very much. It was interesting listening to you just say that then, and how she free-legged. Queen of Crime, I'm going to catch up with Matty Craven Thursday night, actually, about his stellar weekend, which was just enormous. But his story with Queen of Crime was similar. He took her out to give her a gallop, but she trotted. So it's quite amazing how we stumble across, and she was she actually won Hammers Pegasus's race today, actually. And we all know Head Check, daughter of sports rider, which, you don't see a lot of them, but it's just quite interesting how they do it. I know David Aiken has a very strange theory that I love. If a pacing bred horse trots, it'll generally be a good horse because he thinks that they want to do it. It's possibly a little bit the same with vouchers. She wants to be a good horse. She just, as you said, when she's got the hobbles on and everything else, she's just not happy. But by being happy and free-legging, she just wants to be that horse, so she's a bit more relaxed in herself. And maybe that's, as I said, I've got a lot of harebrained ideas that I acquire over the journey, but that might have a little bit more to do with it.
Yeah, Jess and a few other females on the way, I'd like to point out that most good girls, good females, don't like restrictions. So obviously Vouchers just falls under that category. She doesn't like to be restricted in any way. So she's happy being free.
You're more fortunate than me, mate. You only live in a house with one female. I have two, so I am well and truly aware where you're going, and I ain't going any further with it either, mate. Greg Sugars, thank you very much for your time, mate. terrific drive on About Time. It was a split-second decision, and I think it was brilliant. And keep winning races, mate. I hopefully can get you back on here a few more times, and not just talking harness. And good luck with Hamas Pegasus. And anyone gets a chance to see him, go and have a look at him, because he's a rock star to look at. Hopefully he can start running as good as he looks.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Paul. You've really enjoyed this, and here we go. Work.
All right, mate. Thank you.